Shalom, dear intercessors. Lars Enarson here from Israel with an update in the war. This is now day 425 since this war broke out on October 7 last year. And I want to give you first some statistics before I give you also some prayer points to pray into right now. During these 425 days, 807 Israeli soldiers have lost their lives. And of course, there are at least 15,000 wounded who are being treated now in hospitals from the war. 907 civilians have lost their lives, and there are still 101 hostages trapped in Gaza. Altogether, 34,000 rockets, missiles, drones, etc. have been fired into Israel during this a little bit over a year. 34,000. Just imagine that in this little nation the size of New Jersey. And also there have been, most of them, over 50%, have come from Lebanon. 18,500 of them approximately. 750 from Yemen. Just the other day, a missile was shot into Israel from Yemen with traveling a distance of over 600 US miles. That's a ballistic missile, a huge rocket that Israel shot down, but we woke up from the alarms that went on around, in fact, before 6:30 in the morning, and we had to find a bomb shelter. So 750 altogether have been fired from Yemen, 500 from Iran in two different occasions, and about 600 from Syria and from Iraq. In Judea and Samaria and Israel proper, there have been about 4,400 terrorist attacks, with several people that have been killed in these terror attacks, and many have been wounded as well. As far as Israel, Israel has performed about 37,500 air raids into Gaza. About 22,500 Hamas terrorists have been killed in this war, 225 of them higher leaders. And Israel has been able to see the release of 144 of the hostages. As far as Lebanon is concerned, Israel has attacked 12,500 Hezbollah targets in Lebanon since this war began. And approximately, according to Israeli statistics, about 3,500 Hezbollah terrorists have been killed. In Lebanese media, they say about 4,000 Hezbollah terrorists have been killed. Of them, 154 leaders, including their supreme leader, Hassan Nasrallah. And about 16,500 Hezbollah terrorists have also been wounded. It is estimated that Israel has been able to destroy about 80% of the rocket arsenal of Hezbollah. That means that Hezbollah probably has at least 30,000 rockets still in their arsenal. However, now Israel has gone into a ceasefire agreement with Hezbollah and Lebanon for 60 days. And there is no doubt that the war has turned in Israel's favor over the past few months. And it began with a very effective attack on the personal pagers of the Hezbollah terrorist leaders, where thousands of them were wounded and taken out from the war before Israel began to attack into Lebanon. Of course, Hezbollah has already broken the ceasefire agreement in several ways, and Israel is therefore still targeting and attacking in Lebanon. They have no plans to allow Hezbollah to retake the territory that Israel has liberated in southern Lebanon. So this is something, it's because Israel is able to dictate the conditions now much more because Hezbollah's power has been decimated so dramatically. This has led now to a situation where Sunni terrorist rebels, ISIS, Al-Qaeda and other terrorist organizations supported by Turkey has begun to attack in Syria, taking over large portions of Syria from the Syrian government. It's a very dangerous situation right now in Syria, and it's Muslims against Muslims, Shia against Sunnis, fighting desperately in Syria right now. What we need to pray for right now are the Christians in Syria, because they are being trapped in a very dangerous situation from bloodthirsty ISIS terrorists taking over their areas, particularly in northern Syria. There is no doubt that we have gone to see, as I said, a change in this war. Of the almost 100,000 Israelis that had to leave their homes after October 7, many of them have now in the south begun to return to their settlements around the Gaza Strip. In the north, they are still reluctant to move back, even though there is a ceasefire. They are waiting to see what will happen, but little by little they are starting to come back. I can tell you one indication of things have turned around is that there are more fruits and more vegetables on the shelves in the Israeli grocery stores today than what we saw during the first year. So that means that agriculture production has started to come around more now. What Israel is able to do now because of the ceasefire is to concentrate on the situation in Gaza, to liberate the hostages there, and also to prepare for a final confrontation with Iran. So this is what we need to concentrate our prayers for right now, for the hostages in Gaza, that we will see many of them be delivered. And this is going to require supernatural intervention by God, angelic intervention, because Hamas has no plan whatsoever to release these hostages unless Israel withdraws from Gaza and lots of terrorists are set free from Israeli prisons. Because these hostages, that's the only trump card they have left, and they are going to keep them as long as they can. Only God can change this situation through prayer. And I want us to read again from Zechariah chapter 9, where it talks about Gaza in verse 11 and 12. And this is so to the point when it comes to the hostages that are still left in Gaza. I read from verse 11 here in Zechariah 9. As for you also, because of the blood of my covenant with you. This is so powerful. Because of my covenant, the blood of my covenant with you, I will set your prisoners free from the waterless pit. I want to encourage you to use this as a foundation in concentrated intercessory prayer, that God is going to supernaturally deliver the hostages from Hamas in Gaza. I want to read two passages from the apostles here to even support this very powerfully. In Romans chapter 15 and verse 8, Paul wrote, "For I tell you that Messiah became a servant to the circumcised," the Jewish people, to show his covenant people, to show God's truthfulness in order to confirm the promises given to the patriarchs. And also from 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 19 and 20. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 19 and 20. It says, "For the Son of God, Yeshua the Messiah, whom we proclaim among you, Silvanus and Timothy and I, was not yes and no, but in him it is always yes. For all the promises of God find their yes in him." I want to encourage you to take communion and thank God for the blood of his covenant with the Jewish people. And on that foundation, claim deliverance for the hostages in Gaza. If God leads you to fast and pray as well, you can do this on your own or together with your friends in your prayer group or in your church. Claim these promises from Zechariah 9:11 and Romans 15:8 and 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 19 and 20. Take communion and storm the throne of heaven, the throne of mercy, in prayer for the hostages in Gaza. Let us see them being set free by the power of God during these coming weeks. I want to also read from Hebrews chapter 13, very powerful verses there that says the following. It's actually Hebrews 13, verse 3. "Remember those who are in prison as though in prison with them, and those who are mistreated, since you also are in the body." That's what we need to do with the hostages in Gaza. They have no hope but God and his intervention through powerful intercessory prayer. Let's join together and see God do miracles. Finally, before I close, I also want to encourage you to pray for our upcoming Nordic 714 prayer conference in Ljungskile in Sweden. You can go to our website norden714.com and read all about the conference there. It's also in English. Join with us in prayer that God is going to do a mighty thing for all of Europe in this conference. We are so excited about this conference that God himself has taken the initiative to call together. He spoke to me one night right out of the blue. I had no plans to organize a conference, and he told me to organize this conference on January 2 to 4, 2025. I ask you to join with us in powerful prayer for this conference, that God is going to do mighty things for revival in Europe. Thank you for now, and God bless you. Shalom from Israel. And don't forget to do thumbs up and to send this to others so that this message can spread faster on the internet. And please stand with us financially for this conference that is coming up. It is a step of faith, and thank you for your support. May God richly bless you. Shalom.